Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over the Algebra 1 topic of dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is a process that allows the conversion of measurements from one unit type to another by using conversion factor. Key word that I want you guys to remember is that we're converting measurements. Examples of that would be things that we do all the time: minutes to hours, hours to days, weeks to years. We have been taught that from elementary school, certain things that are fact. There are 12 in a dozen. There are usually 30 days in a year. There are 3 feet in 1 yard, etc. There are 12 months in 1 year. Before discussing conversion factor, though, we must discuss ratio, rate, and a unit rate. So ratio is a comparison of two quantities. And I'll write an example. I'm going to put 1 over 12. We have two quantities and we're comparing them to each other. A rate is a ratio of two quantities that each have two different units of measurement. So in this one, we're just going to up the ante and add measurements. So I'm going to put 15 miles compared to 5 gallon. The two measurements are miles and gallons. And then we also have something called unit rate, where the rate has the denominator as 1. I'm going to give an example from the last to show how this works, where we have 3 miles over 1 gallon. Any rate can be changed to unit rate. That's what we did here, actually. To see it done, I'll show you. So we had 15 miles over 5 gallons, and I have 3 miles over 1 gallon. What did I do? I divided both by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. I write this down to show that any rate can be turned into a unit rate. Now, conversion factor is a rate where two quantities are equal, but they have different units. I'm going to show you some examples here. So this is reminiscent of what we learned in elementary and middle school. We learned that 365 days are in 1 year. Why? We don't know. We just know that they're equal. So this is an example of where two quantities are equal, but they have different units. 365 days is the same as 1 year. Another example. One dozen is equal to 12 items. We learned that in middle school, elementary school. We don't necessarily know why, but it is what it has been quantified to be, and we know that they're equal. Again, two quantities are equal but have different units, and then they can be compared. There are 28 days in every February, except if it's a leap year. But I hope you're understanding that there are just some things that we have just resoluted to them being true. And then the last one, these can be made up. If you know a family and they have 4 kids, that particular family has 4 kids. Some families have 2 kids. Some family have 1 kid. Some family have 12 kids. Regardless, this is the conversion factor for that family. For every one Garcia family, they have 4 kids. Something important is that they can always be flipped, and this will be used to solve questions. So I just did more examples of flipping them. At the top, we had 365 days in the numerator. Now we have it in the denominator. I flipped this one to have 12 items at the top and 1 dozen at the bottom. I put February at the top, so 28 days went to the bottom, and I put 4 kids at the top and 1 Garcia family's at the bottom. With conversion factors, if you remember that they can be flipped, that will help you be less confused. Because if you always start in the beginning and just follow what you need, even if you have a conversion factor that is one way, if you need to flip it to get the other way, that is legal and you can do that. So now I want to talk about how it looks visually. So really quick, let me put... I want you guys to be aware of how it'll look visually. Why is it doing that? Boop. So you can have relatively simple questions where you'll have a starting conversion factor and you just need one and you'll finish. This generally doesn't confuse students. I will say though, when it gets bigger, that sometimes is what happens to cause anxiety. And I want y'all to know that it doesn't have to be that way, whether it be large or small. So this is an example of how it can kind of go on and go on and go on until you get finished. This is okay as long as you take it step by step. So you concern yourself first with what you need to get in this first conversion factor. You complete that, then you think about what you need to get to the second one, then the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, if necessary. And once you get the unit that you want, that's when you stop. And then after that is when you do the math, which is we'll talk about right now. I'll put here, though, that you can have just one, or you can have many conversion slots. We're going to go through situations where you have both so you guys are comfortable. So the actual process that I want to walk you guys through of solving dimensional analysis problems is that the known starting quantity starts the process and is written first. So that's what I have here. This is where we start. Number 2 is that immediately you write the unit of the known quantity at bottom of the next conversion slot. So whatever you start here, if it was, for example, 1 year, if you have 1 year here, you automatically put year here. And you're going to do that moving forward. Once you figure out this area, then whatever's at the top here, unit-wise, you're going to put it here. Once you figure that out, whatever's at the top here, you're going to put it here. That's how you're going to guide yourself on how you position your conversion factors, like these up top. Number 3, complete conversion slots one by one, always letting the top unit measurement in the preceding slot determine what the bottom unit measurement in the next slot would be. Number 4, we're going to keep going until have desired quantity at the top of the last conversion slot. Once you have the last desired unit at the top, that's when you know you're done, and then you can do the math. You're going to cancel out matching units to ensure the pathway is correct. So visuals, like you'll have year here. You'll have year here and year here. You can cross out year and you can cross out year. Then you can have feet here and feet here. You can cross out feet, you can cross out feet, etc. You're going to cross out technically everything until you have this last man standing. And then last part is you're going to multiply all numbers on the top, then multiply all numbers on the bottom, and then you're going to solve using PEMDAS. So to give an example, we have 155 centimeters is how many feet? We're changing it to feet. Okay, so we have 155 centimeters. We're going to take the known starting quantity to start the process, and it's written first. So that's all I did. Then, once you write your known quantity, you set up your conversion slot. The next thing you do is put whatever starting unit you have at the bottom of the next conversion slot. Then you need to think, is there a direct conversion slot that I can just think from my mind from elementary school that I have, or middle school that I've planted in my brain? And I will say yes. Generally, at this point, we probably know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. Now, I will give some grace. That may not be instilled in our brain. If you can't come up with something, this is when either you're going to look to see if it was given to you in the problem, or you might just have to do an old-fashioned Google search. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Now, I know I can cross this out, and I'm left with inches. Okay, so automatically to help me, I'm going to put inches here and look to see if I can relate from my brain, from the problem, or from Google, a conversion factor. So inches and feet. I remember that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So then I can cancel that out, and I'm left with what I'm looking for, which is feet. So I know now that I'm good. My answer is going to be in foot, and I just need to do the math. So 155 times 1 divided by 2.54 times 12. Do the math. It's going to be 5.085, and then I'll put feet because everything else has been canceled out, and that's what I got. Number 2 is asking 175 days is how many years? So I'm going to start with the known starting quantity, starting the process, and is written first. So I have 175 days. Then I know automatically I'm going to put days at the bottom. Okay. I need years though. Do I know a conversion factor either through my mind from elementary and middle school, through the problem, or through old-fashioned Google? Yes, we know that there's 1 year that makes up 365 days. Okay, so I can cross this out. Is where I'm at where I need to be. Years, yes it is. Okay, so we're going to do the math, which is 175 divided by 365, which is equal to 0.479 year. So it's almost half a year, but not quite. Okay, and then the next one is a little bit more complicated, but complicated does not mean that you can't do it. It means that you have to take your time and follow the process. So this one is asking us 52.68 feet in 1 hour is how much in inches over minutes. That's what we need to get to. So we're going to start with, 52.68 feet over 1 hour. Automatically do a conversion factor. Now, you always start at the top for simplicity's sake. We're about solving stuff. So feet at the top, feet at the bottom. Okay, and I need to get the top one to be inches. So is there a direct conversion of feet to inches? Yes, there is. Because in 1 foot, there are 12 inches. This is done, and I have the top, but the bottom is still an hour. So that's not where I need to be. If it's at the top, if it's at the bottom, then I'm going to put it at the top because they need to cancel out. Is there a direct conversion factor for hours to minutes? Yes. We know from living our daily life that 1 hour is 60 minutes. This can be canceled, this can be canceled, and now I have the desired thing at the top measurement and the desired measurement at the bottom. So now I know I can do my math. That is going to be 52.68 times 12 times 1 divided by 1 times 1 times 60. Do the math. It's going to be 10.536 inches over minutes. A little bit more complicated, but we were able to get through it because we followed our process, which is what math is, a bunch of processes. I'm going to do some more practice problems in the next video, and all of those videos are linked in the description of this video. So in order to understand a little bit more, come with me so we can go over some problems so that next time you do your homework assignments, you will be familiar with how to tackle them. See you guys next time.